and this is my workplace, but now we will start like this. So please, from now on, I'm not seeing the chat anymore. So please, if there is anyone writing something, just unmute yourself and speak up and tell me what people are writing in the chat, because I cannot see it. And also, if you have
Non sento più niente. Veronica? Non si sente niente?
Ciao people, mi sentite? Ah, ora mi sentite. Qualcuno mi può dire dove siamo arrivati, per favore, fino a dove avete sentito?
E comunque un giorno, quando ti diminuiranno le ore, dobbiamo fare un'uscita.
Sorry, what?
Dobbiamo fare anche noi. Ok.
People, there was someone talking, but I was not hearing anything. Can you tell me where I arrived talking before someone muted me?
Perfetto.
Io non ho sentito niente, Veronica, proprio dall'inizio.
Okay, so now you can hear me?
Yeah, right now, yes, but I didn't hear nothing of your presentation.
Okay. So the fact is to understand what is the role of TM towards operations. So the first thing that we need to do is to be operations driven. Please don't touch the microphone so we make sure that we don't mute each other. And the idea is that we are first able to understand what operations are. So the question here is, this is the scoreboard of October of the whole entity. So here we can see the achievements of all ISEC in Italy for each product and for each part of the customer flow. Our one job as TM is to understand the operations and to have an impact on the operations to deliver leadership experiences. So it's to deliver leadership experiences, the only job that we need to deliver. But for me, the most important thing that you can know about TM, and is the thing that you need to keep in mind if you want to understand what TM is doing, is the following one. And is how can we, as TMs, shape the current status of our membership to have an impact on the scoreboard. So whatever we do as TMs, it's important that we ensure that we are shaping the membership to have an impact on the scoreboard. No matter what you're doing, if you in your daily life, you're not concretely with action steps replying to these questions, you're not doing a TM job. The TM job is not to simply check if other people are doing the standards. It's to make sure that a membership is able to deliver and to receive the standards. Our job is not to ensure that the agenda of the meetings are okay. Our job is to shape the membership to be sure that they are able to create or to respect the agenda for the meeting. Whatever we are doing needs to be simply, like, the focus needs to be operations. So whatever you see in the operation, it is not okay, you need to think in that sense. So coming back to the scoreboard before, we can see, for example, taking OGV as an example, right now, the main issue that we are having as ISEC in Italy for OGV is the conversion sign-up applicants. In this moment, we are having a good amount of sign-ups, but these sign-ups are not being converted into applicants. And our job as TM or TXP is not to go to our team leaders and ask them, have you done the weekly meetings? Our job is to ask them, why aren't you able to convert the sign-ups into applicants? Like, this way it can become polite, but what is going on with the conversion sign-ups applicants? And once we understand the bottleneck, like, the person can tell us, for example, our members are not able to attract the right target. So the signups that we are receiving are not the right ones to be converted. Cool. So what is the next step? The next step is asking ourselves, how can we shape the current status of our membership to have an impact on the scoreboard? So what are we going to teach to the membership to be better and to have an impact on the scoreboard? With this being said, what are the concrete tools that we can have to concretely put into practice the answers that we have to the previous questions? Because, of course, the questions that drive us and that drive our daily actions need to be this one, but at some point, of course, we need to have some concrete tools to actually reply to that questions in a meaningful way. So we are going to start with the TM processes. These things were already included in the booklet that was in the folder, so I don't know if you have already checked it, but we are going to understand better what are the TM processes. The TM processes are 4: get, develop, keep, and report. These processes are, we can say, a sort of TM customer flow. If the operations have their own customer flow, we also have our own. In the moment that our customers and the way that we are impacting the scoreboard is through the membership. So the members, and by members, I mean member, team leader, VPs, whoever is personally the members are our customers. So we could consider the TM processes as our customer flow. And there are 4 phases also in this customer flow, even if the report phase, the last one, is not happening as last one, let's say, is not chronological. Report is basically happening all the time around, but I will show you later the timeline. And we have get, develop, keep, and report. During get, we simply, the goal phase is to get the right people at the right place in the right time. In this way, we want to make sure that we are having the right amount of people and the right people, so the ones that we are going to select properly, in order to make sure that we are delivering leadership experiences. So to make it a bit briefer, get is about admissions. And by admissions, we include all the phases that go from the persona building, it is the creation of the ideal person we want to have in the committee, to the talent onboarding. That is the moment in which we make the people being onboarded. So it's the first part of the education. Is the 10 days are the 10 days right after discovery days that are so fundamental to make sure that we leave the right impression on members so that they understand what is the routine that they need to follow. Then we have the develop phase. And the develop phase, it's the phase on which we need to work whenever we are not, let's say, focusing on anything else. Develop is the most important phase because it's the phase in which we do performance management. What is performance management? Is the moment in which we actually have an impact on the scoreboard, not simply putting people into the committees, but actually making sure that our people learn how to do operations. So the develop process, it's about education, it's about team standards, and it's about all those things, including team leader capacity building, that are actually making our membership be better. So it's the most important moment, and by moment I mean basically most of the team cycles, during which we are able to change and shape the current status of our membership, as I was telling before, in order to have an impact on the scoreboard. And last but not least, we have keep. And keep is the last part that is happening during the team cycle, and is the part during which we are, let's say, having the output of what we have worked on before. So if before we have done a good job in terms of getting the right people at the right time for the right position, and we have worked a lot on making them better, we are going to see the results and we are going to have retention. We are going to have people that are going to stay in the organization, and above all, they are also going to apply for further position. So of course, leadership pipeline. So this means working on reward recognition, engagement, assessment, and succession. Report, as I was mentioning before, is basically the TM process that works on making sure that as TM people, we are data-driven. Being data-driven means that we are looking at data and we are making sure that we understand the data about people. And as an organization, to be honest, guys, we have a lot of job that needs to be done to ensure that we have TM data, because a lot of committees are not getting data at all. They are not looking at the surveys, they are not filling the surveys, and this is not good, because in this way, we are making decisions without knowing the facts, and we are basing our decisions only on opinions. So the idea is that we have global reporting, and by global reporting, I mean that the MC, as the National Office, is helping to report on the data, and we are also using data from the plenary, the global plenary, but this is more an MC job. But all the others are absolutely LC jobs. So it's monthly reporting, ensure that we have a monthly system to report what are the TM data going on, retention ratings, under implementation, leadership pipeline, all these kind of things. Reporting process, so we are not simply having a monthly reporting, but we know what to do with those data. Not simply gaining data for the sake of having data, but making sure that we are working on those data. And last but not least, knowledge management. So making sure that we have a platform or a folder or a store somehow of all the knowledge of the organization. Is there anyone that has any question till now? Or if you can tell me it's okay or whatever, so I know that it's clear, or if I'm talking too fast, whatever. Again, if you are writing, I cannot read it. Okay, cool. So let's move on. So these are the first things, so the process. But I think that the thing that you know the most are the standards, the team standards. And here they are. I hope it's not the first time that you see them, but this is the most accurate version. There are some other images around. Please take this, and because otherwise we get confused with the previous standards. This is the most updated one. And the standards, I don't want to go too much deeper into that because I hope that you can study them later or that you have already studied them before. But the idea of these standards is that they are divided into 3 phases: building, performing, and closing. The phase of building is the phase in which the team comes to life, let's say. The phase during which the team actually creates its identity, its rules, and the plan. And every single member feels the commitment and the belonging to the team and the ownership for the team itself. Then we have the performing phase. That is the most important phase, because it's the phase during which actually people are working to get the results, so to get leadership experience. That is the only reason why TM exists, the only reason why ISEC exists. So if you need to work on something, guys, work on the performing phase. And last but not least, there is the closing phase. And the closing phase is that moment during which we are working to make sure that there is the team debrief. So we are working on understanding how the experience has been for the whole team, but also for the individuals. We work on feedback sessions. We work on inputs on how to make things better for the next time. And we're working on transition. And something cool, in my opinion, you need to notice is that transition is in the closing phase as it is in the building phase. The first thing that you can read in the building team standards under team creation is transition, because the team experience needs to end with the transition to the new team that will start with the building phase. So these 2 things are, of course, a sort of cycle, because it's very important that we act sustainably and we make sure that the next team is going to start with more resources and more knowledge than the ones that they had. But how do we put them together? How do we make sure that the TM processes and team standards go together and actually make sense together? Because the TM processes are the TM customer flow, as we were mentioning before, but the team standards are the more concrete things on which you can have an impact on the local level. So let's see how they work together. And this is how they work together. As you can see, during the previously, compared to the building phase, we have the admission status, so part of the GET process. And right after we have got the people into the organization, we start doing the onboarding. It is the last phase of GET. And right after that, we start the building phase together with the team leader capacity building. So we make sure that we do a very strong induction for the team leader to make sure that they are prepared. And then we work on the NEC, which is not National Educational Cycle. It's the cycle that is provided by conferences and academies. Conferences are the offline national educational cycle. Academies are the online national educational cycle. So it's the knowledge that is directly provided from the MC. But at the same time, of course, we have the onboarding plus the rest of the education that is continuing also later, that is done at the local level by you guys. And we have also, of course, the implementation of the building standards. Then we have the performing phase, that, as I was mentioning before, is the most important phase of the team standards. And at the same time, we have both develop and keep as team standards, that are going on. And we have, in the end, the closing phase, during which there is the end of the keep standards. All over, for the whole time, you can see the report. That is the last process I was mentioning you. Last, not in terms of chronologically speaking, but it's the last one because it has been created some months ago. So it's the last one simply because it has been put the last, because it was created as the last one. But the idea of this is that we gain data and we collect data all over the experience. So we make sure that people are gaining data in each moment of the experience of TM, so that every time that we need to redo something, we are also going to have the data to evaluate how that experience was and what we should do in order to make it better. So with this being said, there is this important thing. We are the people as TM that take care of how to manage our areas, but we are not the ones that are directly managing those areas. Because we are the people that have knowledge, the theoretical knowledge to know how to manage people. But we are not directly managing the operational areas because there are the WP operations for that. This is why I would like you to guess what could be the word, is the same word repeated twice, that would fill this gap. We work in gap, and our JD without gap is useless. What do you think is this word? Can you guess? Anyone that wants to be the brave one? Okay. We work in synergy, and our JD without synergy is useless. By this, I want to reinforce the concept that we were mentioning at the beginning of the chat. If we don't know what is going on with our operations, if we don't know how operations work, and if we don't know how to help the operations, we are never going to have an impact on the scoreboard. And we are going to literally be useless. Our work is not to simply receive information and then to work on our tools, but is to work on our tools and then go to the operations and talk to them, ask them what they need, focusing on what they need in order to perform, and understanding from an HR point of view, so from a human resources point of view, how we can be useful for them. Because again, I really want to have this very clear on mind. We work in synergy with operations, especially, not only, but especially with operations. And our job description without synergy is completely useless. So if you are expecting a term in which you need to simply work on your stuff and that's it, be sure that this job is not for you. Because our one job is to deliver leadership experiences, and we cannot do it alone. We are here to support operations to make sure that they have the human resources point of view to make everything clear and performing, of course. So to close, here is the checklist with the most important things. Of course, it's not everything here, but these are the most important things. And the first of all, as you can see, is operations understanding. If you want to do a good application process, if you want to do a good selection process, if you want to do also a good TM term, operations understanding is the base. Right after this, there is TM processes, as the ones that we were mentioning now. Then we have team standards, of course, local educational cycle, team leaders empowerment, and education is included. LC, local community routine management, which means being sure that we know how to manage our LCs. And last but not least, synergy management. I've mentioned a lot the synergies with operations, but we do not underestimate the importance that the synergies with LCP and finance have. Marketing is already included in the operations, but the synergy with finance can really help you on the investments on membership. And the synergy with LCP is fundamental to align the whole LC on which are the most important topics and the main topics in terms of communication. Never underestimate the importance of communication, guys. If you do not align with your LCP on what you want to work on for team leaders or for members or for the whole committee, that thing is not going to work because they're going to push for a message and the LCP is going to push for another one. And not being aligned is the first step not to achieve the goal. So with this being said, if you want to join our commission, I will be super happy to welcome you. Remember that we are here to deliver our one job, that is delivering leadership experiences. So thank you very much for attending this. And now I would like to stop the sharing screen, if I'm able to. Yay. Yay, hello. So, there are the people that joined. Hello, people. Thank you, Luca. Okay. And I would like to ask you if you have any questions regarding what I've just said, or also about anything else that you want to ask me. This is the opportunity, guys. Any question in your application you don't know how to reply to or whatever. Can you be more specific about team leaders empowerment? Sure. Team leaders empowerment, it's about making sure that we know how to manage our team leaders. And by managing our team leaders, I don't simply mean how to implement the team standards, because that is super obvious. Like, obvious doesn't mean that it's not necessary. Obvious means that it's the basis, and without that, it's impossible to do anything else. But team leaders empowerment, I mean, how do we ensure that we implement the role of the team leader? First of all, we need to understand the difference between being a VP, being a team leader, and being a member. The VPs cover the strategic role and also the tactical role, which is the team leader's one, if there is no team leader. The members cover the operative role. The idea is that together, PM and LCP, this is why it's using a synergy, together work on passing the same knowledge to the team leaders. And which kind of knowledge is the management knowledge? So making sure that people understand how to manage people. Sorry, I will again. So making sure that team leaders know how to manage people. By managing, I mean they need to understand how to put it into practice. I think standards are super cool in that image, but if they stay on the image, it's totally useless. So what do we do in order to ensure that we transmit the team standards concretely? It means explaining them what it means to create an agenda meeting, explaining them how to create an LC routine. It means doing sessions with them about time management, about team management, about how to manage different kinds of profile. It really depends on what are your needs at the local level, but it works like this. My suggestions is to go in the following order. And by this, I also link with the question of Marianna, how should we align the timelines? I don't know which timelines you're referring to, but I will anyway reply to questions more or less related to that. How to plan in PM. In PM, you understand when to do things. You do like this. You plan, you have the operational timeline. So you know when are going to be the peaks for approvals and for realization. That you have your amazing timeline with the peaks of approvals and realization for each product. So, of the first part of the customer flow, for example, for marketing and for the openings of IGV. So you know when things need to happen. And you also know when the team cycles are happening. So you need to understand, based on the team cycle, what needs to happen in each team cycle. When is going to be the building phase, the performing phase, the closing phase, when the... Can you hear me? Okay, I will talk slower. You need to put the team phases in the team cycle. So you put when the building phase, when the performing phase, and when the closing phase are going to be. And you adapt your educational cycle for team leaders based on that. Of course, you need to plan education of team leaders in order for them to be able to deliver some knowledge. For example, they need to be able to deliver meetings, weekly meetings. You need to educate leaders at least 10 days before of the delivery, before the delivery itself of the thing that you want to teach them. Because you need to give time to people to digest information, to practice what is learned, and then put it into practice. So, for example, if you want people to be good in doing feedback sessions, you cannot expect that next month you are going to do a session during a management meeting, so a team leader meeting, your LCP and the team leaders. You cannot expect to do a session about feedbacks during that moment and expect them to be able to do a feedback session the day after. You need to give them time to rethink about what you have done with them, to make them digest the knowledge, to make them practice, to make them adapt what they have learned from you to their special case of their team, and then being able to reproduce it. So my suggestions is to create the operational timeline, the team cycles timeline, and then inside the team cycle, you need to divide and split and to create 2 timelines, the team member timeline and the team leader's timeline. Knowing that you need to adapt then the team standards based on the position. Some team standards, of course, for the team leaders will start before, because as you're doing the building phase, for example, between team leaders and team members, also the team leaders need to do the building phase with the VPs, because the VPs are the team leader of the team leader. But this building phase, the one of VP and team leader and the one of team leader and member, cannot happen at the same time, simultaneously. You need to first ensure that the building phase between VPs and team leader is happening, and right after that, you can ensure that the building phase between team leaders and members is happening. Also, in this way, you make sure that the team leaders learn, not simply by theory, but they also learn by experience, because they are living the same thing with their VPs, and then they reproduce it with their members. In this way, you understand also how much is important that also your VPs know the team standards, not simply the team leaders. Otherwise, it will be useless, because you're going to teach something in theory to your team leaders during the meeting, and then your VP is not putting that into practice. So it means that your team leader is going to learn something in theory and see totally different example. And they are going to follow the example, not the theory. I hope I have replied. Marianna, was your question about something else or about this? Cool. Guys, do you have any other question? What's about the experience itself, how it is to be the VPTM? About my experience as VPTM, TXP, whatever, the name just changes, but the substance is the same. Or, I don't know, whatever question. Also, for people that come later, there is the recording. You're going to see a bit of technical issues at some point. At some point I was muted, I don't know since when. But anyway, you can see the recording.
Yeah, maybe I will have a question.
Good.
It's okay. Yeah, like what's the hardest, like maybe situations that you had to deal with during your term?
I need to think about it.
Okay.
Okay, interesting question. Thank you for it. I just need to think about it. Let me see. The most challenging.
Yeah, that was a.
Okay, so I would say. Okay, first of all, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when I was VP, the role of TM was different. It was not the same as this. I didn't have, at least at the beginning, a lot of knowledge, and this has not allowed me to achieve my goals as TM immediately. I would say that the most challenging moment has been when I realized that I was not doing the right job. I was only focusing on TM for the sake of doing TM, meaning that I was doing admissions, then I was working to implement the team standards by myself. I was working with the team leaders, and then all of a sudden I realized this is not going to work. If I work with the team leaders and I'm not ensuring also a synergy with the VP operations, so if it's only me pushing for the team standard implementation, and I'm not working in synergy with the VPs, because during the meeting we were not talking about team standards, I was talking only to the team leaders about team standards, I understood my mistake. It was the most challenging moment because I had no clue on how to change that. Now, fortunately, I have, and this is what also I want to do with you, in case you are elected people. I hope so.
Thank you so much.
But that has been for sure the most challenging moment, because I said to myself, so what I'm understanding I'm not able to deliver my one, that is leadership experiences, because I'm not working with operations. I'm working by myself with the team leaders. That is wrong.
Okay, thank you. That was interesting.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Sorry, I just noticed my hair. They are a bit weird. It's fine. About, I don't know if there is anything in your application questions, because every questionnaire at the local level is different. If there is any questions that you have in the booklet that I have not replied to with this chat, maybe there are things that are more specific, as Luca was mentioning, because this is really the bigger picture. The TM process, I've just run them.
Yeah. Maybe I have another question.
Sure.
Okay. Yes, give me a moment because in the booklet I found something, and I'm not sure if I get what it is. It's like ecom.
ICOM.
Ecom.
Mhm.
Ecom. Yes. What is it?
It's internal communication.
Okay.
Like it's not for sure, like it's not 100% work of the TM, meaning that is part of it. But for example, at the MC level, I'm not doing ICOM, which is different because my job description and yours, of course, are different. But you can choose, like with your LCP elected, you need to choose who is going to take care of ICOM. But usually, yes, it's TM. ICOM is internal communication, meaning that you are the person that is taking care of the communicational channel of the LC. By this, I mean, you decide you need to create a plan, if you're responsible, to ensure that each channel of communication that you are using has a specific target and a specific goal. As marketing, GTCM is the same. You need to understand what is the goal, what is the target, what is the channel, what is the message. By this, I mean, I don't know if you know the GTCM model. I don't want to go deeper on that now. But the idea is that you understand exactly what is the channel that you want to use. What is the target of the channel? So you want to use emails. I will use emails only for members. With team leaders, I will not use it. I don't know why. I'm just improvising. I'm not saying that it's good or not. It's just to give you an example. And
Okay.
you need to choose, I don't know, I want to, every 2 weeks, I want to send them an update regarding the scoreboard. I want them to know where we are on the scoreboard. So we send them an update about that. Or you are going to manage the Facebook group of the LC if you have one. And you need to choose what is the cadency of posts that you want to do in the week or in the month, and what these posts are going to be about. So you are responsible to manage the internal communication, which means you need to be very clear which are the channels and how you want to choose to use those channels. When I was LCP, I was managing the emails, for example. I was sending the newsletters to the LC, but my TM was managing the Facebook group and the WhatsApp group of the LC. So we had a calendar, and probably also your LCPs or your TMs are having the local level right now. You have a calendar by which you know that, for example, every Monday in the Facebook group, you put an update regarding the scoreboard. On Wednesday, you put, I don't know, an engagement post, meaning that you are just putting, hey, people, how are you? How was the meeting this week? Whatever. And on Friday, you put the dinner of the LC. Like every Friday, you go out with the LC, so you put the post to remind people, hey, let's hang out. But the idea is, how do we use ICOM to achieve more performances, to keep people engaged, and to make to increase people's attendance? And by these two things, we ensure that we are delivering more leadership experiences. Every single thing that we are doing at the local level, also MC level, also global level, whatever we are doing, if it's not aimed to deliver more leadership experiences, is useless, because the goal of the organization is delivering leadership experiences. So ICOM has that same goal, simply it's working its own way. And usually, yes, at the local level, TM is managing that. But for example, here in MC, there is Botachin, or the director, managing ICOM. Clear?
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question, guys? Nope. Thank you, Luca. Again, any other question in your booklets that I've not replied to? Anna, thank you. Or something about the experience, something about the synergies, or can you tell me more or less which area are you from, so I understand your background? If you can write or talk, would be amazing.
Oh, I'm on IGV.
IGV. Where are you calling from, Karin?
Oh, I'm from Roma.
Which one?
Roma Sapienza.
Thank you. Ah, sì, sorry, no, simply the image. Ah, no, okay, no. You are both from Roma Sapienza, okay. Elena from Roma 3. Ciao, Elena. Luca, yes. IGVM marketing. And then Alessio. Which area are you from?
Yeah.
IGV?
Marketing Roma Sapienza.
Marketing and Sapienza. Amazing. Thank you, Alessio. Okay, so you should know more or less how operation works. I don't know how much experience you have in operations when you join IESEC, but in general, guys, I really want to reinforce this concept. If you do not know how operations work, you cannot do TM. You need to really study operations. And by study operations, I mean, of course, the basis, like the customer flow. But customer flow doesn't mean simply knowing attraction, consideration, for delivery, and advocacy. Of course, that is a customer flow. But how are conversions working? What is impacting your conversions? Because the goal is that the TM is going to think as an operation. So we see what is the bottleneck in operations, the conversion apply accepted, or the conversion contract pending and contract signed in sales for IGV, or the conversion incompleted for IGV value delivery, whatever. And we ask ourselves, okay, if this is the conversion, contract signed and contract pending and contract signed, what is the bottleneck? And we ask the operation, what is the bottleneck? And we think about it together. And we then ask ourselves the questions from which I started the whole chat. That is, how are we going to shape our membership, the current state of our membership, to ensure any impact on the scoreboard? This is very important. So we can ask ourselves, okay, are the members needing more education in sales? Are the members needing to work on the expectation setting? Are the members needing to work on the public speaking in order to have an impact on the scoreboard? For me, this is the basis of TM, and it's very important that you understand that this is the role of TM. It's not simply to work on tools and to check if the standard has delivered or not. That is useless if it's not connected to the operations. So, as I was mentioning before, if we do not work in synergy. I hope this part is clear. Yes? No? Ok. Super clear. Uè, addirittura. Sono emozionata. Amazing. Cool. Do you have any other question, guys? It seems no. Okay. So you will find the recording of this chat and also the PPT down in the post on Moscarelli, so you can check it out. Whatever other questions, don't hesitate to approach me. I will try to respond to you as fast as possible. And that's it. Thank you very much for attending. Hope it was useful, and good luck for your processes. And we say dai tutto. Okay? Cool, people. Enjoy. See you. Bye-bye. Bye. Hope to see you soon. Bye.